not in front of me, but I thought it was interesting because it showed him in one day, well, within 2 days, speaking out of both sides of his mouth when it came to the war. I wanted to read something that Mike Rogers in Tokyo wrote, and it was called "The Most Honorable Thing a Patriot Could Do." And I just wanted to read the first few paragraphs of this. It says, "Fight for your country, my friends. Fight for the poor and destitute. Fight for the poor children who will never again have a mother or father. Fight for the aged and the handicapped. Fight for truth, justice, and peace. Fight for your country. Do not fight for a political belief. Do not lay down your life for criminals, liars, and thieves. Fight to put those same criminals where they belong, in prison. Fight for your country. Do not fight for someone else's country. Do not die far off in some foreign land. Do not die for the greed of an emperor or king. Fight to protect your homes and your loved ones, for there is nothing in this world more important than that. And if the good Lord blesses you with health, a happy family, and love, and you one day die in your sleep as a righteous old man or woman, rejoice that you stood for truth in your days on this earth, for you shall surely be rewarded by him." And I thought that was a good testament for patriotism there, and he was supporting Cindy Sheehan's cause in Texas. And of course, she's temporarily left her post in Texas. I guess her mother had a stroke. But, you know, it's still growing down in Crawford, Texas. She'll probably be back. Protesters are still gathering down there. A couple of senator who just lost her son in May in Iraq, who had previously been pro-war, now gathering with the Crawford camp in Texas to fight against the war. And so I thought this was fitting that I read. I thought, and I'm going to read it here. It says, this is a poem somebody wrote, a letter to somebody wrote, "Not my kid." It says, "Dear Mr. President, you are not getting my kid to fight in your filthy wars. You are not getting my kid to burn from your radioactive weapons. You are not getting my kid to opt in through high school. You are not getting my kid through a national service draft. You are not getting my kid through another false flag op. You are not getting my kid with a 30,000 sign-up bonus. You are not getting my kid from your kiddie ROTC army. You already got Cindy's kid and 1,845 other moms' kids, too. You are not getting my kid, Mr. President. Go send your own." And that was written by an anonymous writer. And I think that sums it up. You'll get our kids, Mr. President, when you send your own daughters on the front line. And that's what it's going to take, folks. It's just a bunch of mothers in mourning that have lost their kids over in Iraq, and veterans fed up with it. Veterans and those who have lost loved ones are the most effective in the anti-war movement. They wouldn't listen to anybody before the war started, back before the war started, when all of us were talking about that it would be an annihilation and the war would never end over there, and we were warning about the war. Everybody called you non-patriotic and ready to hang you up by the shoestrings. And in a couple of years, when it's exactly what we warned about years ago, now they can finally see that the war is going nowhere. Everybody, I don't know what they thought it was going to be, a second Persian Gulf where you walk in and it's over in 8 days. Even look at that. You know, over 800,000 soldiers that served during Persian Gulf War I are now disabled. And a lot of them are dead from DU diseases and the radiation they suffered over there. And now we've got the same thing with DU poisoning and radiation from this war. And in this war, you know, the death numbers are totally deflated. You have no idea what the real numbers are. I heard that they only announced 10%. So add 90% to whatever number they're giving you for a death toll, and add, that's your real number. Add 90% to that. Also with the injured, the same thing. Add 90%. And of course, for Iraq, they're not going to give you real numbers. But we've been hearing that the numbers in Iraq are huge. And it's not going to stop here, folks. I mean, they have no love for life. These are Satanists we're dealing with. The only words they know is destroy and kill, because they consider this all suffering and death and murder as sacrifices to Satan. And so it's not going to stop anytime soon. I mean, if it doesn't stop, you know, have our own war here in America fighting against a satanic and corrupt government. You know, it's time for militias to rise. It's time to speak out, to hold candlelight vigils on the White House lawn, on the Pinta lawn, on the Crawford lawn. And there's nothing more effective than just citizens, everyday grassroots citizens, standing up and fighting against a corrupt government. If Iraq doesn't stop, we're going to be in Iran next. Then we're going to be in Syria. And we're doing this all for Israel. We're doing this for oil. We're doing this for Gates. We're doing this for occultic reasons. Not one bit of it has to do with protecting American interests. Because we weren't bothered before 9/11. We haven't been bothered after it was all implemented and instigated by our own government for their own greed and occultic reasons in the Middle East. And, that's one thing you don't hear a lot about is a huge occultic push in the Middle East as to all the occultic reasons why they're over there because of Gates, Stargates being over there in Iraq and in that airspace over there, a huge Stargate. And so all these Satan freaks want control of the Stargates. And as we see more of it coming up, I talked about the Lionsgate opening, and a lot of the stuff is astrological, and that's why a lot of the warnings for last day signs were in the skies, signs in the skies. A lot of the stuff going on that people don't pay attention to. They just believe whatever NASA says. And so you just have to dig for the truth, search out the truth, and try to find out what's going on truth-wise. I know there's a lot of babble about indictments coming down for Bush, but, it's not going to happen, folks. I don't see it happening. If it was going to happen, it would have happened already. I just don't see it happening, especially since you can't just indict a president. He would have to go through impeachment. We've already seen the balls our congressmen have. They don't exist. And so if they're changing votes in Congress now. Congressmen are complaining they're voting and their votes are being changed and nothing's being done. Patriot Acts were passed. Nothing was done to stop them. Do you really think an impeachment process is going to go through Congress? I mean, I really don't have faith in our Congress at all at this point. I don't think anything's going to happen as far as the indictments go. Big deal. Frame them. It was a nice thought. It's never going to happen. I don't see it happening. Not unless the New Age steps in with their Maitreya and they have their own game and stuff going on there. So, whatever they want to do, whatever card they want to play. Number is 260-356-2611. I got about 5 minutes left in this hour, or this half-hour segment if you want to call in. I got an email from one of the listeners. I'll have to read this later. Something about Fox News, and I'll get back to that later. A couple of other emails. If you have a question specific for the show, just put it in the subject line, question for the show, question to be answered during the show, or something like that.
Sherry?
Yeah?
Your guest is up.
Okay. What we're going to do, folks, is we're going to take about a 3-minute break, Steve. Take about a 3-minute break, and then we'll be back with Tim White. We're going to talk more tonight about the New World Order and what their plans are for the upcoming months and what they've been doing. So we'll be right back in about 2 to 3 minutes.
This is the Reality Radio Network on Telstar 5 Transponder 5 and on the internet at realityradionetwork.com.
never end.